Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from Best Western Hotel, Nairobi, here in Upper Hill. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. Now, Dadas Show aspires to promote the spirit of sisterhood, and we do this by creating a very open and safe platform for women of Kenya to discuss issues pertaining to their health, their lifestyle, their work, anything that affects them in one way or another. Now, October is globally recognized as Cancer Awareness Month. So in this particular month, all around the world, we take part in supporting and standing with people who have been affected by cancer in one way or another. Now, according to the National Institute of Cancer Research in Kenya, cancer is the leading cause of death after the cardiovascular and infectious diseases. And amongst the cancers, breast cancer is leading with over 5,000 new infections annually. So Dadas Show is playing the part in creating awareness and celebrating those who have been affected, who are doing something about it, and who are championing against this fight, against this silent killer. As always, I welcome you at home to take part in this and any other conversation that we may have by joining us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach me directly at Ashiko, the host. Give us opinion. Let us hear what you think. Let us hear how cancer or breast cancer, for that matter, has affected you, your family, society, and what you feel needs to be done to stand in the gap, to be able to help our sisters who are in need. So before we join my wonderful panel, let's have a look at the following feature.
The month of October has been devoted as the Pink Month in a move to create awareness for breast cancer globally. This is a month where efforts to educate those concerned about the disease, including early identification and signs and symptoms associated with breast cancer. Statistics rank breast cancer as one of the leading cancers in the country, accounting for 34 infections for every 100,000 Kenyans. Health statistics put the number of deaths stemming from cancer in the country at 27,000 per year, with the number of new infections standing at 39,000, making the disease the third highest cause of morbidity after communicable and cardiovascular diseases. Younger women can also get breast cancer as well, but if you're older, around 50 years and above, you should go for screenings often. At the same time, men can also develop breast cancer. Although rare, men should also be aware of common symptoms like lumps, discharge, and skin discoloration around the breast area. It is necessary to understand the warning signs of breast cancer, your risk of breast cancer, and what's normal for you so you can take action if there are any changes in your breast or underarm areas. Early detection and effective treatment are critical to reducing breast cancer deaths. Living a healthy lifestyle is within your control and may lower your risk of breast cancer. Maintain a healthy weight, limit alcohol intake, and exercise regularly. It all matters when it comes to your overall health and risk of diseases. Knowing your family history is life-saving, and see how that history impacts your risk of breast cancer. Kenya, like other third world nations, struggle with cancer control. Thousands of cases of cancer like prostate and cervical cancer come up every year, and there's still a lot to be done to create more awareness. In a move to fight the disease, the government has started many cancer awareness initiatives and is working to increase the number of screening and chemotherapy centers.
Welcome back. So if you're just joining us, the topic of discussion today is we are joining in the fight against breast cancer. And of course, we are here joined by a wonderful panel who are working hard, who have been affected by breast cancer and are working hard to create awareness and to support those who are still in the fight. So joining me right next to me, I have Sheila Ngaruya, who is a breast cancer survivor. Karibu sana, Sheila. Thank you so much for taking time to sit with us. Next to her, we have Madam Jane Kamau. So, karibu sana Jane. You know, I'm so happy that you could take time off your busy schedule to join me. And finally, we have Dr. Juliet Miner, who is our expert on panel today. Of course, I cannot fail to acknowledge my wonderful audience who take time week in, week out to sit with me as we tackle some contentious issues affecting the women of Kenya. So to get the ball rolling, you know, so I don't know how we address it. Do we say Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month, or do we say Breast Cancer Awareness Month? How do we phrase it?
I think we should say Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
Yes.
So Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Sheila, I have to commend you for your bravery to come. I mean, when we were doing our research, trying to find who's going to come and sit, and we had a conversation, we have encountered a number of issues with people not wanting to come and speak on their journey. But I believe there's a lot of healing when it comes to sharing. So please share with us, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your journey.
Thank you so much, Ashiko. My name is Sheila Mudhoni Ngaruya, and I'm 32 years old, married with one son. And I found out that I have breast cancer last year in May. How it came about is I felt a lump. And then I told my husband, I think I have a lump. And then he told me, just go to the hospital. I said, maybe it's nothing. 2 weeks later, I could not sleep on this side. It was very painful. I could not sleep on my back, or I could not sleep on my left side. So I called my mom. I asked her, so what do I do? Because you just don't go to a hospital and say, check my breast. So she told me, just go to your gyna. I went to my gyna, and then my gyna said, I think we need to do an ultrasound, because she felt the lump herself. So I did an ultrasound, and then the ultrasound showed that I have 5 tumors. Down, up, and the lymph nodes were all affected. Now we started the process of getting to know, is it really cancer? I did an MRI. The MRI showed that there are symptoms of cancer, but now to be sure if it's cancer, they did a biopsy. Yeah. So the biopsy really confirmed that I have cancer. It was really heartbreaking knowing that you have cancer. Then I was not employed. I was at home when I got the news. No, I didn't get the news then. I just got the report. So I read the report, and like most of us, we Google. Yeah. So I Googled my symptoms. Oh, yeah. Before even the doctor told me what I had, I already knew what I had. So now I went to the doctor. The doctor called me. She told me, come, but don't come alone. Yeah. Come with someone. So I went with my mom and my husband. Then she told me, I didn't cry then, but when we left that office, I really cried, because I knew anyone who's told that they are going to have cancer, the first thought is death. And that was my first thought. Leaving my son. My son is 3 years. Wow. Then I said, now my doctor is called Dr. Wow, I forgot her name.
Yeah, we'll got Dr. Daktari, yes.
No, Wanda,
yeah.
Dulcie,
Yeah.
Dulcie Wanda.
Yes.
So she has walked with me through this journey. So she told me, we need to start treatment right away. I told her, fine, let's do it. I was diagnosed on a Thursday, and the following on a Wednesday, I was doing my first chemo. And that's how determined I was. I did my chemo. My first chemo was done here. It was really painful. Then the side effects of the chemo. Yeah. First, your hair falls off. Your hair falls off. I really had long hair, long, down my back. So I remember there's this day I was coming from work. I was just removing, the way you just come from work, I was removing my bun. I was just seeing my hair. So I cried. It's still, you know, I'm still processing this
what
disease.
What is happening to
yes.
you, yes.
So I called her, she told me, don't worry, your hair will come back once you finish the treatment. Mm-hmm. So I was determined to finish the treatment. I did my second session. I've done 8 cycles of chemo.
Yes.
And then my cancer had triple positive, meaning HER2 positive, estrogen positive, and progesterone positive. So what that means is that I do chemo, I do surgery, there's another medication called Herceptin, 18 cycles. So chemo, I did 8 cycles, then I did surgery, and then now I did Herceptin. I finished my Herceptin in September.
Okay.
So currently, I don't have any cell of cancer.
Oh wow, that's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Let's appreciate that, you know, with a round of applause. That's wonderful, you know, and we hope that it stays like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after my chemo, I did surgery in December. My surgery involved, I told everyone around me, my parents, my husband, everyone around me, that I was not sure about mastectomy, because that was the option they had given me. Not lumpectomy because of where the tumors were located. So the only option was mastectomy. I told my doctor that that doesn't sit well with me. Being a young lady, losing a breast is not something that was sitting with me well. So she told me there's an option of transplant. So what I did is a reconstruction, So what I did is I did a reconstruction.
Okay.
So they took part of my stomach and then they reconstructed my breast. Yes. So that was a challenge because I had to heal 2 wounds.
Yeah.
Down.
From down where they picked the graft
Yes,
and this other area.
and up. And then something happened midway that part of my breast started dying. You know, now this is something foreign. So it started dying. So I had to go back again for an emergency surgery to remove that part, because you know a dying part in your body can cause infection.
Yes.
So the surgeon, Dr. Ojuka, went back, removed that part, and now I'm okay.
Wow.
Though it took 3 months to heal,
It took 3 months to heal.
but I'm okay.
Wow.
Yes.
I love your energy. You know, when someone is sitting down and watching you, they can't be able, like what you're saying, when you hear about breast cancer or any cancer for that matter, what you keep on thinking about is what the face will look like. Someone who is so distraught, someone who is so finished, someone who doesn't have a zeal to live. But you know, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at you, Sheila, and you're bubbly, and you know, you've got this beautiful hair. Someone would think that, you know what, you should always have that hairstyle. You know, Amma, you know. So you look beautiful, you look radiant, and of course, you know, I am praying for you as you continue your journey in healing, and of course in advocating for people who have been afflicted by what you are. So asante sana so much for sharing with us your story. We'll come back to you in a little bit. Now, Jane, you're also a breast cancer survivor. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, I'm Jane Wangoi Kamau. I'm 46 years old. It was back in 2021,
Yes.
around May. And then I had, my breast was very painful, and especially at night. It was so painful, but in the morning, the pain is gone, and gone maybe for a month. So I didn't take it so serious. Okay, then I started feeling itchy. I went to a doctor, who is a general practitioner, and then they really sent me to another doctor. I was done a mammogram, and then as an ultrasound was done to me. And after I returned the results, my doctor said that I'm supposed to be done a biopsy.
Yes.
Biopsy was done, and then after 2 weeks, I got the results. After the results, I went. I'm kawaida going alone. I do go alone in many things. So I went with my results. Before I went, I was given the results, but kawaida, I went to Dr. Gugu. So I knew everything. After the appointment with the doctor, he asked me, whom have you come with? I told him, I come alone. No, Jane. Why can you come alone? I told me, I come alone. Find a friend. I told me, I don't have a friend. right now. So he found a nurse who was walking through the corridors, and then he called her. She told her, you know, this is Jane, and there is a result that I want to tell her here, so you can at least comfort her. And then I was like, I know everything, eh? Yes. Okay, after that, I was done surgery by the same doctor, and then he referred me to Dr. Wanda, a very good friend of mine and an oncologist.
Yeah.
We have gone through with her. I've gone for 8 sessions of chemo. Then I went for 25 radiotherapies, and now I'm taking tamoxifen as a hormonal therapy. During the time of chemo and radiotherapy, the journey is not so simple. It is quite a difficult journey and a harsh one. But with God and being there, and you accept yourself the way you are. Okay, luckily I am a psychologist, so maybe it helped me to something else, that I was able to journey. With that, I went for all the 8 sessions, and after the 8 sessions, I went for radio, 25 sessions, which I was coming here to Nairobi every day for 25 days. And I was, okay, I was helped by my brother, because even then, the charges are too high.
Yeah.
They are not kawaida, they are expensive. So at least have got some people who have been with me, we have journeyed with them. And right now, I am okay. I did my PET scan it was on 17th, last week on Tuesday. I did a PET scan at KU, and then I have the results already, and they are all negative.
Oh,
so I thank God for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's appreciate that information. It's really good information. That's really good to hear.
Yes.
So asante sana Jane, by the way, thank you so much. So over to you, Dr. Juliet. Now here we are, we've sort of started straight into the deep end, you know. But for someone who's watching at home and someone who's just maybe tuned in and there are certain terms that are being thrown around that a layman may not be able to understand. I think there's something I had, he too, had to. There's something I've had, various things. Let's go down to the basic, like we are 3 years old or we're in class 3. So please tell us, first of all, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then, you know, what is breast cancer? What types of breast cancer are there? And why is it known as the silent killer?
Thank you so much, Ashiko, for having me. My name is Dr. Juliet Maina. I'm a clinical oncologist or radiation oncologist. I'm currently practicing at Nanyuki Teaching and Referral Hospital in Laikipia County.
Yes.
Now, breast cancer is quite a huge problem when it comes to malignancies or cancers in women. And it actually, many years ago, people would think breast cancer typically affects older women, less than younger women.
Yeah.
But actually what we've seen, it's throughout the entire spectrum. So it doesn't matter whether you're 20 or you are 50. Of course, there's a higher risk if you're older, but it can affect any woman irrespective of the age.
Yes.
And breast cancer, basically, any cancer is abnormal cells. So you have abnormal growth of cells. And the difference is it's very important to differentiate between something we call benign, so that is not cancer, and sometimes women can have lumps on the breast, but that are not cancerous, which are very different from malignancies or cancers, which are now abnormal cells. And the problem is that these cells can spread to other parts of the body. That's why you have to detect them early and treat them early.
Yes.
Now, you've called it a silent killer, because it really is. Just as Sheila has said, is that what happens is that people present a lot of times with what we call a painless lump. So you have this small nodule or a small mass that you can feel on the breast, and it's so easy to ignore it because you're not feeling any pain. Majority of the times, you're just going on your day and you're fine. And I've seen patients who would say, I had this lump last year. and they never did anything because they didn't know what it was. And that's why we want to create greater and more awareness.
Yeah, you see, like, sorry, Dr. You see,
Sure.
like, when you're talking about the lumps, like you're saying, as women, feeling a lump is really not irregular.
Absolutely.
You know, you're constantly feeling them, you know. There's one here,
Absolutely.
there's one here. And now I really do understand. So just still speaking on that. Okay, yeah, so please proceed.
Yeah, so what we're saying is that whenever, you know, irrespective of whether you have a lump or not, it's very important for any woman to examine their breasts.
Yes.
You know, the breast is divided into, like, if you go to the nipple in the middle, it's divided into 4 parts. So there's upper, outside, and lower, inside, and so forth. And it's very good to examine your breast. It's such a simple thing to do when you're taking a shower, if you have larger breasts, when you're lying down on your bed, and you examine each and every segment of the breast, including behind the nipple. And whenever you have a lump, do not ignore it.
Yeah.
Tafadhali, if there's anything that women should remember out of this conversation, is that never ignore a lump. You would rather go have it checked out, have an ultrasound. Usually we do ultrasound for younger women below the age of 40, a mammogram for older women above the age of 40 years, and that can detect whether it looks like cancerous or not. But what actually says this is cancer or this is not cancer is the biopsy.
Okay.
And whether, you know, a lot of people hear biopsy and they're like, no. When you touch things, that's when they spread.
Yeah.
That is not true. Can I just detest that idea? You know, a biopsy gives us more reason to know what this is. And the earlier it's detected, the faster the treatment and the better the prognosis, for sure. So it is not a death sentence by any means, but it's up to us as women to also be careful to take care of ourselves. And I love this month of October, because what happens is many areas you can go have a mammogram done, you can have at a lower cost, you can have an ultrasound done at a lower cost. And what I say is actually guidelines worldwide in good resource countries is that women above the age of 50 years have ultrasound mammograms done every year.
Yes, every year.
You detect a little tiny tumor. Sometimes we detect such tiny tumors that they're in millimeters. So small. And those ones are the ones they can have maybe a lumpectomy, where they just remove where the tumor is and not the entire breast. And therefore, I mean, it is definitely a better prognosis. So the earlier the stage, the easier it is to treat this malignancy. So let us not ignore any lumps. Detect a lump, go have it checked out. If you feel like, I didn't like that opinion, you can always go for a second opinion. And it is not a death sentence by any means.
I love that, and I think that's a good takeaway we can have today. It is not a death sentence, definitely. So there's something that you mentioned when we were speaking, Sheila. You talked about positive estrogen, positive, which sort of gives me an idea, and of course from my research, that there are different types of breast cancer. Kindly enlighten us on that.
Absolutely. And the reason why we want to know which type of breast cancer you have is because the treatment of each is different.
Yes.
So it's the same disease, but the treatment portfolio is different. So one, the most common, as Sheila had said, is called hormone receptor positive.
Yes.
So we call ER/PR positive. That is majority of the patients. And once they've completed treatment, usually they will continue with a tablet called tamoxifen for a duration of 5 to 10 years, variable, hey? And then usually we have another one which is called HER2 positive.
Yes, that HER2
positive.
Positive, yes, I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yes, that's also a type of hormone that's present called HER2, HER2, literally. And what that means is that you're given a certain type of treatment that is targeted to the HER2 cells, to the cells that normally have those receptors of the HER2. And usually, most of those patients will normally get this HER2 for a duration of about a year to 18 months on completion of treatment. Now, there is also a third subtype, so those are two. So hormone receptor positive, HER2 positive. There's a third one which has both, as HERS did. So they have the hormone receptor positive and they have the HER2 positive. And it means for those patients, they'll take both the hormone receptor, so the tablet called tamoxifen, together with the hormone HER2 targeted treatment. And the last subtype is what we call triple negative breast cancer. So that was triple positive breast cancer, now it's triple negative. Now triple negative is where it does not have any of those receptors. So the HER2, the ER is negative, and those patients are not given the tablet, they're not given the HER2 targeted agent. What they get mainly is chemotherapy as a main modality of treatment besides the surgery and radiotherapy. Yes, basically.
Thank you so much. That is definitely so enlightening, you know. I mean, that's really good. So what are some of the challenges that you've, you know, you're such a bubbly person that it almost breaks my heart to want to take you to work. But what are some of the, realistically, what are some of the challenges you have experienced since you were diagnosed? Actually, on your journey as we speak.
My journey is, thank you for your question. First is losing my hair. And then my former boss used to say that I don't think she has cancer. Because after my chemo, I used to go to work the following day. So to him, it was, I don't think she has cancer. So that was very challenging to me because it's like he's not believing. So that really put me down. And then something else about when you take chemo, the side effects, you would never wish it on your worst enemy. Puking, you really puke, no appetite. There was a time I went 4 days without eating, just drinking water. Because anytime I eat, I just puke. Yeah, so I can say those are some of the challenges I've faced. And then seeing also my son, seeing his mother going through this, for him, I saw it had affected him. Yes.
Wow. So what are some of the things that you, just before we go on break, if somebody is watching you right now, because you see, like, I appreciate what Dr. Ari actually pointed out, because I think even most of us, for a very long time, we always just think breast cancer is something that affects older women. Now you're 32.
Yes.
You're young. You know, so, and last year we actually had an episode and we had a lady here who was 23. So if there's somebody who's watching and she's seeing you and you're beautiful and you're dressed and you're eloquent and you're doing, like you're saying, you would go to work, what words of encouragement are you offering people today on this particular, you know, as we promote awareness on breast cancer?
The one thing that I would want to tell someone is accept. Acceptance is, you first heal with acceptance. Because if you don't accept, you'll not accept medication, you'll not accept anything that will follow after your diagnosis. So you need to accept and then get the medication. It's tough, but perseverance will lead you to survive that. And also good nutrition.
Good nutrition.
Yes. It doesn't mean that go outside there and eat very expensive things, no. Just eat beetroots, carrots, just juice them, drink, they'll boost your blood. And just as I've said, accept.
Accept.
Yes.
Those are wise words. So we go to you before we go, Jen, before we go on break. You know, what are some of the challenges and what words of encouragement do you have for people today?
Okay. One of the challenges, as my sister have said, is the loss of the hair. I had longer
than that? Yes. Wow.
And then one day I had a lot of pain because it was coming out, but now because of the bulky, it was painful. Eh?
Oh,
so I had to tell my friend, you know what, cut this thing out. And then everything was down. Unaguza tu hivi unaona no.
Unajiona ni kama hujajiona tena. Nywele imeenda wapi?
Yes. This is very serious. But as she has already said, you accept what come and you live each day at a time. Wow. Yes. Yeah. Now my hair is back.
Yes, it is. And it looks so beautiful.
Yes, and I thank God for that. There's still another thing. You feel so tired sometimes, especially during the chemo. Those medicines are very, you feel so tired. Sometimes you are not able to do maybe many things that you have done. Still there is another challenge. because of the removal of the lymph nodes, because after when they were doing the surgery of the mastectomy, they removed the lymph nodes.
Yes.
So because of maybe of the insufficient of them, that is why I'm wearing this, because I have developed lymphodema. Now I'm still fighting. Yes, and that's why I have put this sleeve because of that. And I hope it'll be okay.
It will.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I like the general theme of acceptance, you know, but I know it's not easy to get there. So, Dr. What actually for you, I would want you to answer a very simple question before we go on break. Do you feel that there is adequate information out there amongst the public on breast cancer, the types of breast cancer, the treatments, accessibility of treatments, support groups? Do you feel like there is sufficient information, you know, out there in the public?
Yeah, that's a relative question. Hey, it depends on who you're asking. To be honest, I still think there's a lot that can still be done. I mean, if we ever get to a point where every woman above the age of 50 years goes for a mammogram, where we get to a point whereby there's accessibility of healthcare anywhere, where someone thinks, okay, I have a lump, let me go get an ultrasound, but they don't have to second guess the cost pertaining to it, where to go have it done, which hospital, and so forth. That is where we will get to. And when we get to that point where each and every woman, whether they're in Mandera, or they're in Nairobi, or they're in Mombasa, or whatever part of our country they are able to access healthcare, access mammogram, ultrasound, MRI, whatever the case might be, then we will be there. We are not there yet. I have to add one more thing, and this is what I've heard from Jane and Sheila, which is brilliant. Mindset. A positive attitude makes the world of a difference. I have treated patients, and a patient who walks in with a very negative attitude, and or a patient who walks in with a very positive attitude, as difficult as this journey might be, is very different for those two people. And not just as it is in terms of sicknesses, but in life. You know, so much is not in our control. I have patients who ask, why me? Why not that person? What did I eat? Is it because of this? I'm like, no. Such answers are in God's hands. But what you can do is have a positive attitude, have your family to surround you and to support you through this journey, and for sure we can make it to the other side.
I mean, seriously, need I say more? I think that's a perfect place. Asante sana Daktari, asante sana Sheila, asante sana Jane. We're going to take a very small break, and then we'll be right back for the question and answer session. Don't go far away.
Ukienda area kama ushago, kitu kama screening wanafaa kuweka up to, let's say level 4 hospitals, wakuwe wanaweza fanya screening, wajue juu. Example, ukienda place kama Siaya County where I came from, hakuna screening yala sub county, utakuwa referred to Kisumu or Siaya, of which Siaya bado kienda ni bado process, huwezi enda hiyo siku fanyiwe hiyo siku.
Creating awareness is the biggest thing that I can do, maybe via social media or by myself. Maybe we can have you can take part in the community by helping the girls to know how to cope up with these things and how to run them. Because most of the people in the communities, they are not able to access maybe social media, so they are not able to know what is happening or viral. But by creating awareness through maybe going to door to door or any other means, it's very crucial to me.
Introducing free medical camps, because the process of healing from breast cancer is kind of long and tough. They could introduce medical camps, for free testing, for free medical checkups, and also they could also introduce specialized doctors to advise the youth, and especially those affected by breast cancer, to give them the motivation that they need, and tell them that this is not the end of the world. There is still healing. There is the healing process, and they can be better.
Welcome back to the second part of today's show, on Dadas show, and we are celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Dadas show, we are doing our part by celebrating breast cancer survivors and those people who are standing in the gap, who are doing their part. These are the doctors, the caregivers, even you and me. So we will jump into our question and answer session from our wonderful audience. Remember, you can always keep us engaged on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach me directly on Ashiko, the host, across all platforms. So to start us off on this question and answer session, we are joined by another breast cancer survivor who is sitting in our audience, and she has accepted to give us, tell us a little bit about herself and her journey. So karibu sana Mercy, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mercy Melinda, 30 years old. Nilipata niko na breast cancer 2021 November. Okay, ilikuwa ngumu to accept it, but nilikubali. First I did a scan, then wakaniambia ni my CTs. I treated my CTs for like 2 months, then it was not working. Nikaambiwa, then I have to go for biopsy because this thing is not working. Then I went for biopsy, nikapata niko na breast cancer. I started my chemo, pole. Then I did 8 sections of chemo. Nikamaliza, it was okay. Then I started doing aseptic. At the 14th aseptic, it failed, never worked for me. Then I stopped. Hapo ndio I had to go for another PET scan, kuangalia why is it not working. It was too late. Nilipata from my left breast, image transfer to the right one. Then to my liver. I started doing the oral treatment. Nikafanya for 6 sections. Nikamaliza na ilifanya kazi. So now I'm going for double mastectomy. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, so what can you tell someone? Because you're still in the thick of things.
Yeah.
And of course, I have to applaud you for your courage to just come and join us today and talk about it. This is not something that's easy to talk about.
Yeah.
What words of encouragement, as you tell yourself, can you also share with somebody who is in the middle of it all?
What I can say, accept it. The minute you accept that thing is there, utapona. Na utakuwa na the courage to keep going, because it's 3 years nimekaa nayo for that long, na bado niko sawa, sipati stress. So I can tell someone, ikubali, ukikubali, number 1 kukubali. Na kukuwa na the courage to do the treatment, na ku-accept kuwa unapona. Ukikuwa na ile mind ya I'm not going to be okay, you will not be okay. Yeah.
Vile daktari alisema, positive mindset. Ukiingia, ukianza treatment, ukifanya nini, hata ukipatiwa good news unajiambia tu, unajua nini? Kesho pia ni siku, I am here and I will do everything it takes so that I can be able to see this through.
Yeah,
So we celebrate you up on Dadas show. We acknowledge you, and of course we wish you all the best. So you'll keep us posted as you keep going with your treatment.
Yeah.
Sawa Mercy. Asante sana. So let's give Mercy a round of applause for encouragement and thanking her for making it today to join us. You know, so asante sana Mercy. So we have our next question or comment from Joy Mukami.
Thank you, Ashiko. Okay, as a young lady, I have a question to the daktari. So what are some of the signs and symptoms can warrant a visit to the doctor?
That's definitely an excellent question. When we think about it, we've had two similar but different, because Ngaria's pain was continuous, you know, and Jane's pain would happen once a month. What else is there? Is it just a pain in the boob? Kindly.
Yeah, thank you, Joy, for that question. And yeah, I mean, the spectrum of symptoms is variable, but there is a typical symptoms. So I'll just talk about what's typical and then what's less common.
Yes.
Usually they'll present with a lump, and we call it a painless breast lump. That is almost 80% of people present with that. So there's a small lump you can feel. A lump is like a hard nodule or a hard substance in the breast. A lot of times it can be moving or it can be fixed somewhere, but it's not painful. Okay. Later on, you can see this lump gradually get bigger, progressively get bigger, and now it can be associated with pain. Sometimes the pain is there, sometimes the pain is not there. And I have to mention that it's not always in the breast. Sometimes it can be in the axilla. So in the armpits, there can be a lump. And sometimes someone can have a lump in the armpit and nothing on the breast. Okay, and therefore it's very good to examine even under the arm, and we'll talk about that a bit later. So usually a lump is the most common symptom. Also, you can have pain present, getting larger, and sometimes when it gets bigger, it involves the skin of the breast. So you can see an ulcer has formed, which is like a small wound, and that is usually painful. Okay, now those are what we call the local symptoms. But sometimes they can have more extensive symptoms if it has spread to other parts of the body. And that's when you find someone can present with a lump but is coughing, is having some abdominal pain, if the cancer may have spread to the lungs, which is common, or it may have spread to the liver. So those are the two most common sites, and those are the two most common presenting symptoms. Okay. And then one other thing I need to mention is that as much as we're talking about breast cancer in women, it can happen in men. So 99% of breast cancer is in women. So that means a 1% risk of breast cancer in men. And there's some syndromes that some people can have that can cause them to have breast cancer. But needless to say, a man can also present with a breast lump. Okay. And that is also word. So if a man out there has a lump on the breast, that should be checked out.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And imaging should be done. A biopsy should be done as well to ascertain whether it's cancer or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Daktari. So, of course, this is a caution to everybody who's at home that there's a percentage. There's a 1% chance that, you know, that a man could get breast cancer. So let's just always be aware. Let's be cognizant of our bodies. If you feel a lump, don't say, this one she does our mama. You know, just, you know, get checked out. I mean, what do you have to lose? Quite literally. And so much to gain. Yeah. So our next question is from Angela.
Well, thank you, Ashiko, for having me in the show. And it was exciting to hear from the three ladies, that is Jen, Sheila, and Mercy. And I noticed both Jen and Sheila mentioned that the cost for their treatment was a bit expensive. So I have a question to both of them on what do they think the government can do to bring the cancer treatment costs down. Thank you.
That's a very good question. You know, we've talked about treatment. I think even Daktari is going to give us a little bit of her insight. Do you feel, as you speak right now, as cancer survivor, as, you know, even people who are still in treatment, as someone who is treating people on a day-to-day basis, do you feel like the government is doing enough to step in the gap to be able to cushion some of these expenses and, you know, other things that are affecting, you know, cancer patients? We'll start off with you.
What I can say is the government is doing something. Not enough, but it's doing something. For example, in HIF, my treatment I did in Nairobi Hospital. I know it's very different from someone doing from somewhere else, like KU, but Nairobi Hospital, the NHIF paid a bit for my treatment. I know it would have been better if I was doing somewhere else.
Yeah.
So what I would encourage the government to do is also to incorporate even the private hospitals, because KU, there are a lot of people, even currently right now in Nairobi Hospital, there's a very long line of patients. So they could incorporate that, doing NHIF, giving it all round, because if they see you're applying NHIF and you're in Nairobi Hospital, what they give you is very minimal. So you have to top up either with insurance or with cash.
Yeah.
So that is what I could advise.
Okay. So make NHIF, you know, more hospital NHIF accredited and friendly, you know, and I think this is something that has been going on for very many years, you know, so that we can be able to have more outlets and more hospitals that can be able to attend to the sick. What about you, Jane? What do you feel like the government, where are they dropping the ball, and what should they do better?
Okay, for me, I think the government should do a bit something bigger, because sometimes they just cater just a bit of it. Because, for example, when you go to a hospital, as I was going for my radio in Nairobi Hospital, I was to, the NHI was to pay for me around 3,500, and I should top because they charge at 6,000 per session. So when if at all they can be able to cater for the whole treatment, I think those people who are suffering maybe could get help. I would recommend maybe KU, at least they are doing a bit better, because when I went for my PET scan, the NHI paid the whole amount, that is 50K for me, and I am grateful for that. If at all they can do such in other hospitals, even the private hospitals, we can go far.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the general theme is to be able to subsidize some of this cost, right, Dr. Because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, according to the National Cancer Institute of Kenya, if we're having 5,000 new cases reported, over 5,000 new cases reported yearly, this is about 12-something% of all the cancer cases reported, and this is happening annually. This is a very large number. So that definitely means that the government definitely needs to intervene. What about you, Dr.
Yeah, I really love what they've said. The first thing when a patient walks into my office and we've done the consultation and everything is I ask, do you have NHIF? Because I work in a government institute. So for most of the government institution, I must say NHIF does help. Okay, if it was, I don't know when NHIF started, but a couple of years back without NHIF, the costs of a single cycle of chemotherapy, about the Herceptin that we are talking about, is very expensive. Radiotherapy sessions, very, very expensive. So we talk about financial toxicity to the patient, not just physical, but also financially.
Yeah.
So NHIF, especially for government hospitals, it does go a long way, okay? And for, of course, the private hospitals, they pay part of it, but not the entire payment. It is something. Can more be done? Absolutely. And it should be great if more, 90%, 100% of the cost could be catered for, because this, you know, you need treatment. There's no way around it. You need treatment. It's not up for discussion. So if more payment could go to help treatment for the patients, it goes a long way. You know, she's mentioned something very important. Also, patients need imaging.
Yeah.
So CT scans, mammograms, MRIs, PET CTs, and so forth. And I must say, especially for the government institutions, it does cater for that to an extent. And that has also helped patients. So as much as I would say a lot can be done, but something has been done, and for that, we are grateful for as well. Yeah.
Wow. So, of course, our message, you know, from my wonderful panel and, of course, us in Dadas, is we do appreciate the efforts that are being put in place, and we also encourage more to be brought forth. So, our next question of the day is from Elfas.
Thank you, Ashiko. My name is Elfas Mzito, and my questions goes directly to Daktari. Most people fear about cancer. When they heard about cancer, they normally fear. You as a doctor, maybe what can government do through the Ministry of Health in order to create awareness and any other thing that the government can do to remove this fear from people?
The big C word, cancer, there's been a lot of stigma associated with them, with it, basically. And all goes to the aspect of awareness. Having these wonderful ladies talk about their journey shows people out there that it is doable, that normal people go through this and they can come out on the other side. And it all goes to awareness, not just October. Hey, each and every month of the year symbolizes a type of cancer. So January is cervical cancer, and so forth. February is a different one, and so forth. If we could just create more awareness for every individual in our country to know that cancer is present, treatment is available, and it is not necessarily a death sentence, that will go a long way. So let's create awareness. Let's talk about it. Let's normalize it so that we can actually be able to create awareness and encourage one another.
Okay, wow. That is wonderful. So, Elfas, I think what we are doing right now, and I think what you do when you go home as you share information here, we are all playing our part in being able to decipher, like you're saying, to kill the stigma around the big C. Okay, and our final question of this session. Our final question of this session is from Brandy. Brandy has a question.
Daktari, what is the technique for checking for lumps in your breast?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Simple enough. Ideally, you can do this in two main ways. You can do it standing up. You can do it lying down. Okay. Usually the breast, as we had talked about, is divided into like 4 parts. So the nipple is the middle, and then you have a cross section, okay? So we have an upper inner part, a lower inner part, an upper outer part, and a lower outer part. That makes sense, simple enough, right?
Yeah.
So using the palm of your hand, whichever hand you're more comfortable with, it's better to raise your arm. Unfortunately, I can't really demonstrate.
So I can do it for you. Yes. So you raise your arm.
You raise your arm. So you can use your left hand.
Yeah, your left
And then
hand.
your palm
Yeah.
straight up. So your right hand, sorry. And then what you do is you sort of rub, massage.
Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise, or that really doesn't matter?
Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Hey?
So
But anyway, I think typically you will just go in a clockwise motion.
in a clockwise motion,
Yeah,
yes.
that's just more natural. And then you examine each and every quadrant.
All the 4 quadrants.
4. And once you're done with the 4, you examine under the nipple. All right? And once that is done, you can also examine under the armpit.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we have normal lymph nodes under the armpit, which is very normal. But of course, if you notice something that's fixed, so that's not moving, or it's more painful, it should be checked out. So it's a very simple way to examine, and it can actually save one's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, by the way, Dr. Ari. Thank you so much. So I hope even you at home have been able to take down the technique. So, you know, in the privacy of your bedroom or your bathroom, both men and women, right? Please kindly, you know, fill yourself up and find out what's happening there. So we have come to the end of a very insightful and very educational episode of Dadas Show, where we are taking our bids. We are playing our part in creating awareness and understanding breast cancer. So my 2 cents are very many people, very many women are suffering from, have been touched in one way or another by breast cancer, and more are being diagnosed daily. So do your part this month and any other month. Let women go and get screened. Go and get screened. Carry a friend along, tag somebody along, and let's all rally around and be able to support each other. And just like my ladies and my wonderful panel, share your stories, come out with it, talk with it. Remember, you know, sharing is caring. It may not make you feel good immediately, but you do not know the kind of impact that it will have on you in the long run and the people around you. So on behalf of the production team at KBC, my wonderful location partner, Best Western Hotel Nairobi here in Upper Hill, myself, Ashiko Mbune, I wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll catch you same time, same place next week on Dadas Show. Bye for now.